Short notice. We are here this afternoon to share two major developments for jury trials that have been occurring across the street at Tulane and Broad. This afternoon, Ronald Craig was convicted of first-degree rape and kidnapping. Let's see, I think you got some. Jonah. Always you, Jonah. That's the same thing that we say, Jonah. It doesn't work. All right, okay, all right, just get comfortable. Somebody get Jonah a cup of coffee and some cookies or something. Anything else you need, Jonah? Cream and sugar? I'm good. Okay. Hey, Ash, how you doing? Jonah made you late? Yeah, I got it. That's good.
What's going on, dude?
How you doing, man?
Good.
It's good to
Nice
see
seeing
you.
you again.
Good to see you, brother. Good?
It's good.
Okay. Jonah, can we start?
This is yours.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here on short notice. We are here this afternoon to share major developments in two jury trials that we've been trying over the past several days across the street at Tulane and Broad. This afternoon, Ronald Craig was convicted of first-degree rape and kidnapping that stemmed from a 1975 home invasion where some extraordinary lawyering and some incredible police work and technology helped us get justice for a survivor after nearly 50 years. Shortly going to hear from my chief of the SACA unit, Mary Glass, and she's going to tell you about a remarkable story of perseverance and a refusal to accept the odds of a seemingly unwinnable case. What a difference a year makes in the world of investigative technology, and thank God that the people behind me rely on it, look for it, and seek it out in every single case. Mary is going to tell you how she and her co-counsel, Penny Kissinger, and the SACA team worked with law enforcement partners and experts to reconstruct every single piece of this survivor story and this defendant's involvement from 1975 to the present. Their efforts are, in fact, a case study in why our SACA unit even exists, why it was established, and a testament to the value of state-of-the-art technologies in the field of DNA that can give new life to our efforts to secure convictions against predators, violent criminals, and also exonerate the innocent. Mary, let them hear from the woman, one of the women in the arena.
Thank you. In 1975, a 19-year-old scholarship kid was raped at gunpoint in her second-floor shotgun apartment. She was afraid for her life. She was told she was going to die, and she did what she was told. After she was raped and robbed, she called the police immediately. She put on her clothes and she waited. Her underwear were collected that day. She had to go to the morgue to be examined by Dr. McKenna. And the jury heard from as many people as we could produce, although most of the players in this case were deceased. 1975. The victim came in and told her story, but her story only got us as far as presumptive testing of fluids. She happened to reach out to a fellow prosecutor in 2019 after she'd written an article about why women don't come forward, about how they're often shamed and blamed and not listened to. And that prosecutor reached out to our office in 2020. And we reached out to NOPD. We never thought we'd find a sexual assault kit from 1975, and we didn't. Hurricane Katrina took a lot of things away from us. But her panties remained on the second floor Z Annex, which never flooded. We actually had the director of the Innocence Project come and testify about how an inventory was done of what evidence remained after Katrina, and that these panties were there, and that they were intact. Maybe they were bagged in plastic, which wasn't best practice, but they were good enough. And the Louisiana State Police Crime Lab and NOPD went to work on this case immediately after locating those panties, and within not even 2 weeks, had a name of a suspect. They got a reference sample from the victim, which we had to get from out of state flown in, to make sure it was her underwear. And after that was done, to link him to the underwear. He could not be excluded. The case was tried a little over a year ago, and the jury was hung. And the Louisiana State Police Crime Lab went back in with a new technology called TrueAllele, which is designed for degraded samples, mixtures. And they found that Ronald Craig could be included to the tune of, if it was going to be anybody else, you were looking at 46.4 billion people. He's included. She's included. Like I said, the state tried the case once before, but this time we came armed with 2 different types of DNA analysis. We found the victim's roommate from 1975, and he came in. We found the detective that took her original statement and thankfully typed as she went along, because otherwise we wouldn't have had it. The kit was gone. The main detective's deceased. The expert criminologists were all deceased. And the defense brought in an expert that they paid to the tune of thousands of dollars to say anything and everything they could to confuse the jury. And they did it once, but they didn't do it today. We're so, so proud of our victim, of our team, NOPD, the Louisiana State Police Crime Lab, Ann Montgomery that came in as a retired expert. The Saki unit works on cold cases and works on cases in real time. This is the coldest case we've ever done. And a lot of eyes are watching. And I'm so proud of the Saki grant, my team. I'm honored to have worked with this victim, and I'm honored to work for somebody like Jason Williams who gets it. And he supports us at every turn. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you for your work on this case, and thank you for doing what it took to stand up the Saki unit and make it what it is, which is, I believe, leading the country in this type of work. As you all have reported, there's an unprecedented amount of collaboration between this office and the Louisiana State Police. I was with Captain Hyatt from Troop NOLA earlier today, and we owe a big thanks to the Louisiana State Police Crime Lab for going the extra mile when this new technology became available so that it could be used and introduced to a jury of 12 to come back with the right verdict. But our biggest thanks has to go to the survivor in this case, standing firm for 50 years to make sure that justice was served. Violent sexual crimes against women and children historically have not been a priority in the criminal legal system. But thanks to the people I get to work with, that's not the case in this office. At the same time these guys were trying this very, very difficult case in one section of court, down the hall, our homicide unit, headed by Matt Durbis, also secured a big public safety victory today with the conviction of Tyree Quinn. Quinn was convicted of 1 count of second-degree murder, 2 counts of manslaughter, and 1 count of obstruction of justice. Quinn was arrested after a triple shooting on Lundy Grove in 2023. And if you recall, that took place on I-10 Service Road. You all, I'm sure, remember there were a number of years where we saw an unprecedented number of shootings on our public thoroughfares and highways. This was one of those that took innocent lives. Quinn acted recklessly and violently in his pursuit of his intended target, and in that process took other innocent lives. Corbin Bates, ADA Eva Ripple, ADA Spencer Golden, TA Dana Casbon, they delivered for the people of this community. It was not an easy case. None of our cases are, but some are harder than others. And Corbin Bates may be one of our younger homicide unit attorneys. He was a Rule 20, a law student, when I took office. And I think it speaks volumes about how quickly he's grown to take on and want the toughest cases. It's like Michael Jordan when the clock is ticking out. That's how Corbin works. Corbin, I wanted to hear from you.
Thank you so much, boss. Suffice to say, this was a case from all the way back in 2023 in which multiple families were torn apart. And our office and myself are just happy that we could bring some closure to this chapter for these families. Andrew Stiller, Kimberly Hines were literally in the wrong place at the wrong time. Mr. Stiller went to pick up his fare. He was driving for Uber at the time, and it just so happened that the person he picked up, a 21-year-old Janelle Hampton, was the intended victim of Tyree Quinn and others. And they ambushed him, riddled his vehicle with bullets, and caused him to slam into the vehicle of Kimberly Hines and others. Ms. Hines, unfortunately, was shot in this and passed away at the hospital. The other victims in that car were irreparably injured. I just want to say a thank you to the people of New Orleans for finally bringing this to a just resolution, and to the DA for giving the support to our unit so that we can take cases like this and treat them with the attention and focus that they deserve. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Corbin. I really wanted you to hear from the men and women in the arena, in that courtroom, who delivered justice. And I wanted you to see them and hear from them. These hard-working public servants are delivering justice every day. This Holy Thursday, I really want the public to just stop and take notice of the tireless efforts of these people behind me who have been a part of the greatest reduction in violent crime in this nation since the pandemic. I absolutely thank each and every one of you for what you've done for this city and the work that you've done for me. Keith?
All right, we'll open up for on-topic questions. I know some people have other questions. Hopefully it's not after. We're going to start to my right with Andrew and the vice principal.
What convinced you to retry the case? The first trial ended in a homicide. What made that decision for you?
I'll let Mary answer it. I'll just tell you it was the right thing to do, and the right thing to do is always easy. But let me let you hear from Mary.
He was guilty. You know, there's a reason why she should be on her own underpants, and there's a reason why he should not have been. She was dedicated. She wanted to see this through, and we wanted to see it through for her.
Jacob, Roxanne?
So there were multiple shootings when Tyree Quinn shot those 3 people on the interstate. Where are the other cases that are still needing to be prosecuted?
Corbin, you want to take it?
So as many people are aware, during that time frame, there were a total of almost 8 shootings along that stretch of highway in New Orleans East. It is known that during this particular one, the defendant Tyree Quinn was accompanied by at least 3 others who were perpetrators in this violent and heinous crime. Of course, we can't talk about or discuss ongoing investigations, but I can tell you this: NOPD, along with our office, has not stopped building, not stopped looking into and investigating that case. Unfortunately, that's all we can say about that.
Sure.
What was the aha moment that it was him, that not somebody else? Because I know that these are difficult to prosecute, right? These interstate shootings?
Yes. Unfortunately, for cases like this, we don't have the advantage of having witnesses, since most people who are around are speeding by at 60, 70, 80 miles an hour. In cases like this, it turns into a purely evidence-driven pursuit. Ballistics evidence was recovered from the scene, marking that at least 3 firearms were used, assault rifles in this case, and detectives, including the work of Detective Rael Johnson, were able to track back the path of Andrew Stiller's vehicle until they could locate a vehicle that matched up with one seen on scene when this homicide happened. Additionally, one of the biggest factors was a literal passerby happened to catch an image of the suspect's vehicle that was used to pinpoint it. And once that vehicle had been located and identified, it was traced back to Tyree Quinn, who, for whatever reason, had been on an ankle monitor due to another pending case he had. That ankle monitor not only placed him at the scene of this homicide, but placed him on the highway itself, where we know those gunmen were, including him, pumping round after round into these unfortunate victims.
You all probably remember that name, Ray L. Johnson. He's one of the best detectives at the NOPD, and he does an amazing job tracking down every piece of evidence that's available. But like Corbin said, the sixth man on the team is the public. When the public steps up and provides the information that they know, that's when justice can happen.
Ms. Mary, for you, talk about the fact that this is the oldest case that you guys ever dealt with. So we know domestic violence rape charges, it takes a long time. So would you like others that may have had been raped from that time, like 40 years ago, to know about coming forward for you guys as well as going, how are you feeling? A 50-year-old case being solved and not feel as bad, a 2 or 3-year-old case being solved by your
I would love for people to know that the fact that the sexual assault kit was gone in this case didn't stop the efforts. And, you know, that we would consider that primary evidence. But the underwear that she put on after the assault, which is considered secondary evidence, remained. There are a lot more old cases that we need to go back and look and say, just because the kit's gone, we're not finished. Maybe there's secondary evidence. That's what I would take away from this. I think that there are other cases that can be solved.
And actually, I would just tell you that, you know, impossible and difficult are two different things. A lot of folks, a lot of lawyers, whether they're in this criminal justice space or the civil world or what have you, they don't take on tough cases. They run from tough cases. These lawyers here, they take on the most difficult cases. Even sometimes when the witnesses and people who call the police don't come to court, they show up in court. They keep looking for evidence. So whether it's something that happened a long time ago or whether it's something that happened last year, there's a team here at the DA's office that is going to be dogged about getting justice. Thank you all for coming on a holiday Thursday. Thank you.